And so I just started, I don't know, I wrote basically a love poem about that. It's called Pushing Daisies. He has a remarkable ability, a trick to baffle even the most talented of witch doctors. With a simple touch, he brings the dead back to life, no matter how deep the wound, how cold the heart. The newly undead often begin speaking immediately, unaware they're continuing a pre-death conversation. And the person with whom they were speaking with has most likely moved on to finish conversations with other people, rowing through countless bars, searching for a warm face to touch, a dress to go home with, someone to keep grief from pulling up a chair at the table and eating everything in sight. Cursed with the inability to contact their loved ones without causing a commotion, the undead must relocate to new towns, find different pets and lovers, sons and daughters, inspire new enemies, and risk getting hired at yet another miserable job. A woman feeds the bus her token and takes a seat. Her grocery bags are heavy, so she tucks them under her feet instead of hogging more space. She is a considerate woman. Hi. She's moved to a new town to get away from the sadness that it built itself around her day by day, brick by brick. Her husband of 32 years was killed in a freak car accident, his body pulled from a tree 200 yards from the scene. At his funeral, the woman noticed a pretty young lady she had never seen before, sitting in the front row. What struck her was how hard that stranger cried, and how shiny her long black hair was, fat, curling serpent stretching the length of her spine. When the other mourners filed out of the chapel, this black-haired stranger stayed behind, hugging the casket with her arms and legs the way a child straddles a tree trunk. The bus stops on Smith Street. A man climbs the high steps, pays his fare, and makes his way through the crowd. As he sits behind this woman, she looks up from her book, recognizing her husband's quirky scent, then quickly lowers her head and continues reading, embarrassed by the 2 seconds of hope that swarmed inside her. The man spots the twin moles on his wife's familiar neck, and a jolt of new love zaps through his resurrected heart. He leans forward and smells her thin gray hair piled atop her head, held in place with that chewed pencil, rose shampoo, and cigarette smoke. When the bus stops again, his wife stands up, carefully making her way through the narrow spaces between bodies, brushing past the dead and the living as her husband watches her like a silent film, left behind to experience new and unfamiliar joys. Woo!